Right, Rita at Alton Towers is a roller coaster known to divide opinions in the theme park community. Quite a few people have called this ride bad. I mean, several videos have been made addressing that, but I can't find a video about this ride that's positive, so technically this is an original video idea. They don't come around often, but just what makes this coaster great? Well, let's find out. I feel like probably the most logical bit to talk about first would be the layout, so let's talk about that. The ride starts this launch sequence. You hear a sweet angelic voice from paradise up above utter the hymn.
You must escape!
Then you got these traffic lights up ahead. They switch to green. I mean, sometimes they'll stay red, but more on that later, and you launch from 0 to 61 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. Now this is actually a really good launch. It's quite intense. It's a hydraulic launch like the one you get on Stealth, so it's not slow or anything. Actually, it's pretty good. You then speed into this turn and, well, we'll say it's very intense. It might dislocate a shoulder, knock a few teeth out, and if you're lucky, it'll knock you out. Then again, it might not. In the end, it's probably the closest thing we'll get to an in-twin blitz, and if you're too weak to handle this turn, then John will help you. You then go to this twisted airtime hill. A lot of people say it doesn't give airtime, but shut up, it does. Mind you, it doesn't give much airtime. It's negative 0.7 G to be exact, but you've got to savour it like a fine wine. I know that's a bit of a comparison, seeing how airtime is a force and the other is a beverage, but you get the point. You just gotta make the most of the little things. You fly into this turn that goes over the queue of the, quite frankly, inferior ride. You then go into another turn that's kind of like the first one. Mind you, it's not as good, but you still get airtime on there if you're short, so that's something. It's better than nothing. You then go into another turn over the 13 entrance and it's a bit bad. I know this is meant to be a video worshipping this ride, but this part really baffles me. Now, I'm no science expert, but going 61 miles per hour, a ride shouldn't lose that much speed after 2 hills. It's not physically possible. Well, it is physically possible because it's been built and it's doing that, but after that you go into the best part of the ride, and I wish I was joking. It's this little bump before the brakes. It just launches you out of your seat. To be fair, it gives more airtime than those massive hills. It's just mental, and for whatever reason nobody talks about it and can't comprehend why, but it puts a neat little bow on the ride. I know there's that turn at the end, but we'll ignore that. It's just a turn. In general, I'd say Rita's layout is short but sweet. It combines a bit of everything. Why people complain about it being short is baffling, seeing how they'll rave over Stealth. I mean, Stealth is obviously better. There's a distinct border between a controversial opinion and being blatantly wrong, but these launch coasters were never meant to be long rides, so saying that Rita is bad because it's short is stupid. I'll say this now. Rita isn't the most themed ride. Apparently the ride's meant to be themed as an escape car to escape the sentient forest. Ooh, it's a bit specific, but there's a couple of bits of theming here and there around the ride. You've got a couple of trees, and I don't care if that sounded desperate. The ride is themed to a forest. Forests have trees, so I count that as theming. You've also got the tyre entrance, which looks quite nice. You've got a couple vines on there. You've also got this control box. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but it's got some vines on and it blends in with the area, so it looks quite nice. You've also got some traffic lights on there. They make no sense. Chances are that there's working traffic lights in a forest is slim. I know the forest is haunted, so of all the things a forest could haunt, why would it want to haunt some traffic lights? I know the ride used to be themed to its prehistoric speedway, but then again, the chances of dinosaurs having an understanding of electricity is just as slim. So I don't know what's happened there, but I guess Rita's lack of theming leaves to the imagination. You come up with a theme and why there's a race car in the haunted forest. Some call it lazy, I call it brilliant. To be honest, in terms of theming, all Rita really needs is a soundtrack and an indoor station. That's practically it. There really isn't much you can do with that theme. It's really specific. In the end, the ride's themed to a forest and the area resembles a forest. What more can you want? As if this ride couldn't get any better, I've chosen a couple small details that are insignificant but not too insignificant to talk about in this little positive section. The first one's the launch. I know I mentioned it earlier, and considering it's the main part of the ride, it probably shouldn't be labeling it as insignificant, but it is quite intense. People say it's rough, and I wouldn't go to that extent. I guess it is a bit rally. Apparently, according to urban legend, it's rough because there's spanners from maintenance stuck on the brake fins. It's probably not true, but just imagine you're working on a ride and your spanner just flies out your hand. I can't think of anything to elaborate on that, just boom, spanner. But seriously speaking, there's not many of these launch coasters out there in the world, so we've got to make the most of it. It's not the best launch ever, but by no means is it bad. It's quite forceful. It gets overlooked quite a bit. Another thing about this ride that's pretty good is the surprise element. Sometimes, you're not going to believe this, but on some occasions, the train will launch before the lights go green and the man says go. It is really insignificant, but it's quite a nice touch. I mean, if you're not keeping your head back, You might break a couple bones, but it's natural selection at that point. You should have been listening to the Scary Forest Man. I know this video is called Rita's a good ride or something along those lines, but it's not flawless by any means. I think it'd be a bit backwards of me to not talk about the disadvantages. The first one, the trains are quite uncomfortable. To be fair, what I'm saying in this little section here can go for stealth as well. It's not necessarily the trains that are bad. They look like cars, and cars are pretty cool, but the restraints aren't great. I think everyone and their nan would rather lap bars on there. Not that it's going to happen, but in an ideal world, it would be quite nice. It can hurt sometimes when you slam your head against those plastic things on the side. I don't really know what to call them, but there's an easy fix. Some parks have the exact same rides have started to stick padding on the restraints. Apparently that's a bit more comfortable. It will still hurt, but not as much. But in terms of the actual ride, that's the only problem I really have with it. The roughness doesn't exactly bother me because I actually drink water, but something that really does rattle my snake is the baggage system. There are two types of people in this world. People who think Rita has a baggage system, and liars. This isn't exactly anything to do with the ride, but seeing how I've stooped low enough to practically do a video essay on a roller coaster, I don't think there's such thing as rock bottom. So if you didn't know, Rita has this really weird baggage system. It's basically this two-sided cubby cabinet thing right at the end of the station, and it's a little bit awkward if you're queuing for the front, as you got to like duck under this chain, sprint across the station, jump over shark-infested waters, defuse a bomb, you got to put your bag in the baggage thing, I don't really know what to call it, then you got to sprint back to the front row queue, shuffle back to where you were, and then from there you've got the added worry of hoping the Coke Freestyle bottle expertly leaning against it doesn't spill. I don't get why they couldn't go for a baggage hold building like they do on Stealth, but apparently that's too convenient. I know there is lockers, and some will argue that you got to put your bag in a locker. Now I know for £2 you're probably paying for the chance of, oh yeah, it's secure, no one will nick it. You know, it's £2, it's quite a bit of money. I don't get why parks couldn't do free lockers. In conclusion, Rita isn't a bad ride. It's not the best or worst ride at Alton Towers. Nemesis and the Smiler are at the same park, they're about a 15-minute walk away, and if you genuinely think this is better than both of those, you deserve the electric chair. As I said, there's a difference between a controversial opinion and being wrong. But that said, it does get overlooked quite a bit. On its own, it's not that bad, it's actually quite fun. I feel like if it were to go to another park, I doubt it would get as much slack, but because it's at Alton Towers, it's all of a sudden really bad. I know a lot of people would rather have an instrument blitz in the area, which I'm telling you now, it's not happening. Objectively, it's not great, but it all comes down to what you enjoy. Different people will look for different things in a ride, and that's fine. Most opinions can't be wrong. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like. That would be greatly appreciated. The more likes on the video, the more people are able to see it. And if you're new around here and you want to see more of these reviews, well, I'm not going to call it a review because that sounds really sad. We'll say video essay. If you want to see more of these video essays and you're new to the channel, then be sure to subscribe. And also be sure to let me know your opinion on this ride. I know it can be quite polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it. You know, be sure to let me know. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. You deserve it.